Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. But today, and I hate to be doom and gloom here, we've got to talk about the looming career crisis. Now, if you're a longtime listener or follower of mine, you know I'm talking about artificial intelligence, and we really have to go through this because AI is having a deleterious effect on our youth. I think it's coming for adults though as well, and I'll explain in a second. But think about it this way. When I'm on stage and I'm talking about the future of business and security, and we're looking at the next 5, 10, 20 years of what essentially is going to happen here, I'm talking about that 16-year-old or that 16-year-old or 17-year-old that is going for a McJob. But if I am a customer and I am basically going through the drive-thru of the McDonald's and an artificial intelligence is taking my order and a robot is making my Big Mac, then where's the job for that 16-year-old or 17-year-old, maybe 15-year-old, I don't know. The point being is it's not about the crappy paycheck. It's an entry-level job. The point is about socialization. We are getting human youth into the workforce so they can understand how to deal with, crappy employees or a jerk boss or maybe a great boss or maybe a drunk customer at 2 a.m. that just wants a Big Mac, and is giving you and is hassling you for that. This is what we're talking about. We're losing that socialization aspect of it, not to mention the fact our population keeps growing. And if there are less jobs to go around because people are, or rather corporations are buying robots instead of hiring humans because quite frankly, it's cheaper and more effective for them, then where does that leave basically a massive amount of the population that can't find jobs? So with that, let's look at reality in action here because this is already starting. It's not just what the Brookings Institute said about 300 million jobs being displaced, 30 million lost. It's coming to fruition now because artificial intelligence tools are already doing the types of simple coding and debugging tasks that junior software developers do to gain experience and advance their careers. AI is also doing work that younger employees in the legal and retail sectors once did as well. Wall Street firms are reportedly considering steep cuts to entry-level hiring, according to Fortune, and on and on and on. And so we are seeing this now come to fruition. But as this basically removes tasks from us and eventually jobs, it's coming for everybody. That senior programmer that has spent, basically decades or possibly, even a decade just really honing that experience to be a really good programmer now can't keep up 24/7 with an AI cranking these things out. And we've seen major big tech corporations and big cybersecurity corporations basically have mandates to say that, well, in the next couple of years, 30% of all of the programming for our products is going to be done by AI. And if the developers aren't using artificial intelligence, then they're going to be fired because AI is going to assist them, I think, until it can replace them. And so there has to be a breaking point here. There has to be at some point a line where we have to have some kind of regulation that says, look, we are going to have massive unemployment for those jobs. And there are a lot of jobs in major sectors, including white collar, not to mention blue collar, where why not just have a robot build the house or drywall an entire building because it doesn't stop, doesn't need brakes, doesn't need a pension, et cetera, et cetera. Why not just have all of this done? But where does that leave us? And I think this is the problem that we've got. On top of this, we have the dumbing down, essentially, of society. Like I recently read another article where college students were using ChatGPT left and right. And one of the college students said, well, if I can go from point A to point B quicker, why wouldn't I use a car as opposed to walk, aka ChatGPT? And on the surface, that sounds good. But if you think about it deeper, the experience of going from point A to point B, what you learn along the way is the important part. It's not the beginning or the end, it's the journey. And so I think we're losing a lot here. And I think that this is going to continue to basically increase and expand. And quite frankly, we don't have a government, at least here in the United States, that is looking at that and saying, hey, wait a second, we need to slow this down. That's one part, the competition with adversarial nations like China, et cetera, et cetera. But another part is we don't really have big tech on a leash anyway, right? I mean, we have regulatory bodies for privacy, stuff like that. The Europeans have GDPR, Ireland slow pedals everything, and the Facebooks of the world and the Googles of the world have operating expenses. Yeah, we'll pay the fine because we're making 10 times more anyway, so who cares? Something has to change, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but it better happen sooner than later. Otherwise, what we are going to see is mass unemployment. When you have mass unemployment and basically the diminishing of wealth, moving towards poverty, what you have is the French in the late 1800s, where they were beheading people, people were eating dirt. That's revolutionary talk. And quite frankly, AI could bring us there, assuming the robots don't go Terminator and kill us anyway, right? But I think this really deserves a discussion, and it's not getting the discussion that it needs. So I'm bringing it up. Hopefully we can discuss. And if you are a lawmaker of any kind watching this or listening to this, give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you for free. We have to figure these things out. We've got to start bringing legislation that is going to basically put AI in a box to allow it to do things while we have the ability to keep our jobs or create, or I don't know, maybe it's universal basic income. I'm not an economist. I don't know if that's good or bad, but we can't have legions of people out of work that don't feel like they have a purpose, because that purpose turns to anger. And that is not a good sign for any society around the world. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP until I guess I have an AI do it for me, but I'm not planning on that anytime soon. And, feel free to subscribe at YouTube as well, Blue Sky, Mastodon, all those fun ones. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private, informed, and secure. Take care.